Carbon-plated super shoes. Lightweight, bouncy, designed for speed. They have revolutionized the way we run and race, helping runners set new personal bests and tons of world records. Easy to understand why many runners are now addicted to them. The running shoe market is cashing out and the runners are having fun. But what if I told you that running too frequently in these super shoes could actually be doing you more harm than good? By the way, runners, it's still your man Dr. CY, the running dog. You are both certified medical doctor turned running shoe specialist, bringing you expert-backed insights to help you stay injury-free and perform at your best. Today, I will be taking you into an area that many runners overlook: the hidden dangers of running too frequently in these carbon-plated super shoes. As you can see, I'm not immune to them. I've got a load of them here. In fact, there are still a lot behind me here that cannot make it to this table. But these are just a few that I just wanted to sample to show you that I've got a lot of experience in these super shoes. So I know what I'm talking about, both from experience and from research. So now into the topic of today, let's break it down. Before we go into why running too frequently in these may not be the best thing for you, we need to also understand how these running shoes work. Now, if you look at all these super shoes here, there's one thing they all have in common: stiffness. Even the smallest of them. This is the Vaporfly, the Flame 4, the Viet Nitro 3, Adios Pro 3. And this is even the stiffest of them all, the Adizero Prime X2. Look at this, Hoka Skyward X, the Viet Nitro. Even the small Sen 9 is stiff. The Quadron Fein Plate, Velocity Elite 2. This one got a little give just at the toe here, only this. But then compare with a regular running shoe like this Adidas Pure Boost. Look at this. You see? So that is one difference between the regular cushioned shoes and your carbon-plated shoes: stiffness. The super shoes also have great foams, but some of these regular everyday shoes also have great foams. So in order to understand this impact, you need to understand some few things about running. In fact, everybody toes off at their metatarsophalangeal joints, the big toe. So now, as you toe off in a regular shoe, it flexes and then you take off. But in the stiff shoes, see what you get? There's no flexion. When you are running, a lot of the energy for most people is generated at the big toe, and for some people, the big toe and the next one. They flex and then the muscles push off at that place. But when you are running in a shoe like this, you see, there's no chance for that bending. When you are toeing off in a shoe like this, you are engaging the small muscles of the feet. You have so many muscles on the feet that are called intrinsic muscles. What they do is they contract to stabilize. The feet. The feet contains many bones. So you have the tarsals, you have the metatarsals, you have the phalanges. And all these are joined together by ligaments and muscles. As you try to move, all those muscles contract together with the plantar fascia and everything. What they do is to keep the foot together as one piece so that they are not moving independently of one another, and then only move at the most important areas around the first metatarsophalangeal, and that is where you toe off. Now, that is when you are running in a flexible shoe like this that allows your natural foot movement. But when you are running in a stiff shoe like this, the shoe itself is now stabilizing the bones of your feet. That job is no longer being done by the intrinsic muscles of your foot. They are being done by the shoe. And that is one of the places where you save a lot of energy, because the carbon plate in this with the stiffness reduces the work of the muscles, especially under the foot. That's the difference. Another fallout from this is that when you are running a flexible shoe, you toe off mostly at your big toe. In a stiff shoe, majority of the forces are now transferred to the Achilles tendon because the whole of the foot is encased together as one unit. So you're now like using the lever to just move from your calf. This job is now transferred to the calf and to the quads. The other thing too that happens is that, of course, it is not stiff like a board. There's still some element of flexion that you will get. As the plate flexes even a little, it also snaps back as you toe off. So that snap back also creates a catapult effect that helps you to also take off more easily. So that is why it feels easier to run in the carbon plated shoes. Of course, all of them are also equipped with some super foams, So the springiness from the foam and the catapult effect from the carbon plate makes running easier. That's why you are able to run faster for longer, because you are reducing the work of running. So the same energy that you would have done to maybe run a 10K at a pace of 6 minutes per kilometer, you can now use the same energy and run maybe 12 kilometers at 5:30 per kilometer. So that is how the benefits come. When we look at our stats, we are happy. So now that we've understood the mechanics of how these work, let me now take you into why running in these super shoes too frequently can now become a problem instead of adding more benefits. Number one is increased injury risk. Yeah, you got that well. Your muscles, tendons, and joints experience unnatural stress patterns. So one of the injuries that you may encounter is overuse injuries. Many may come down or may complain about Achilles tendonitis, calf tightness, and even stress fractures due to abnormal stresses on some of the bones. The job that would have been done by the intrinsic muscles of your feet, the plantar fascia, so many things are taken away by the shoe and transferred to the Achilles tendon. Another way you can also come down with injuries is because of weaker muscles of the foot. When you take away the job that the intrinsic muscles of your foot have to do, in the end, while other muscles like the calves, the quads are strengthening, their intrinsic muscles of your feet are weakening. And with those weak muscles now comes more likelihood of an injury. This weakness of these muscles can also cause some imbalances on the foot, So these are all the things that can work to also lead to more likelihood of an injury. The second problem that can arise is reduced long-term gains. Your overall running strength and endurance will reduce. You can become dependent on carbon-plated shoes. Anytime they take away your carbon-plated shoes, you are like a fish out of water. It happens to me too. That's one of the things that even inspired me to make this video. When I reviewed this shoe, the Adidas Pure Boost, I could run in this 21 kilometers non-stop at maybe an hour and 54 minutes, 53 minutes. But I was shocked when I wanted to test this at 5 kilometers, I was having foot fatigue. So I had to change my running rotation. When you do all your running in these super shoes, as your quads, your calves are strengthening, the intrinsic muscles of your feet are weakening. So when you now send them to walk in a very flexible shoe like this one, where they now have to do a lot of the work of running, you see that after a short while, they get fagged out. And that is how so many runners can become addicted to carbon-plated shoes. Anytime you are not wearing them, you cannot sustain intensity. So that is decreased long-term benefits. When you run a lot in shoes like this, the intrinsic muscles of your feet get exercised. They get stronger, they get bigger. In fact, I have read several studies that have actually shown that people who run in less cushioned, more flexible shoes, the intrinsic muscles of their feet are bigger and larger. It's simple to understand actually, because when you put any muscle to work, they get bigger, they get stronger. And when you put any muscle to rest, they get smaller and they get weaker. That's exactly what happens. When you run a lot in these, keeping the intrinsic muscles of your foot on perpetual holiday, they get weaker. When you now bring them out and put them on a shoe like this, they cannot cope. So that is why the long-term benefits will become less for you. Your rest day benefits from the carbon-plated shoes will be very little. But when you train more in flexible shoes like this and strengthen all these muscles, when you now switch to this, it's easier for you to run faster. On the rest day, your legs are strong, your muscles are strong, and then they can do even more when you now put them on carbon-plated shoes. The benefits are more. Another thing too is adaptation issues. When your body is used to only one type of shoe, they become less adaptable. But when they are exposed to different kinds of stimuli, they are more adaptable. The third problem is high cost of running. Okay, here in Saudi Arabia, this one cost me $1,150. That's approximately over $300 to get this here in Saudi Arabia. The same thing here with the Vaporfly 3, about $320 to get it here in Saudi Arabia. This is a Chinese brand. It was cheaper. I think this one is around $160 or $167. But how much did I buy this one? Adidas Pure Boost. I got this one for $80. Look at the outsole. These ones are built for lightness and speed. They are not built to last. If you get 250 kilometers in this shoe, it loses most of the benefits that makes it so sweet to you. but this one can go 500, 700, 800 kilometers. It's cheaper and they last longer. The daily trainers are built to be more sturdy and last longer, whereas the race day shoes are built for speed and lightness. And because of all the technology that went into their development, they are all very expensive. So what it means is that by 250 to 300 miles, you might be needing another Vaporfly 3, and that's another $320 if you are living here in Saudi Arabia. Whereas this one, by 500 kilometers, you are probably still running in your $80. So what's the solution? Should we abandon this? Never. Of course, I got a marathon coming up very soon, and I'm warming up some of these shoes. I'm still trying to decide which one that is going on the marathon with me. I got quite a few new ones right now, especially Flame 4.0 have suddenly become a very serious contender. The Vaporfly 3 this is the one I used for my last marathon. I bought this then together with the Adios Pro 3. My Vaporfly is still in very good order. I've not done much with this after the race, so it's still very, very good and capable. My Adios Pro is still there, still alive and kicking. This one definitely is not in the loop because of the weight. This is not going on any marathon race with me. This is another one that is super, super interesting, the Quadan Blade. But the one that is actually giving me the second thoughts now is this one, the Flame 4. Well, I'll decide before the end of the week, see which of them is going on the marathon with me. So like I was saying, we cannot stop running in this because, of course, anytime you hit a new PB, it keeps you happy. And being happy also keeps you running more and longer. I'm not saying that you should run in a bad shoe, because if you are running in a bad shoe, you don't enjoy the run. And if you are not enjoying the run, you cannot keep running. Most people who run because they enjoy it. And one way to enjoy running is when you are running in a good shoe. So what we are saying is not run in these ones all the time. Majority of your runs should be in shoes that are flexible. Most daily trainers that don't have any plate in them, no matter how thick they are, we are not talking about running in bad shoes. For instance, this is the Puma Mag Max Nitro. It has a whooping 44-46 millimeters of midsole here in the heel with almost 40 in the forefoot. But if you see, it's still very, very flexible. So we are not saying run in a bad shoe, but we are saying run in a shoe that allows your feet to move naturally. Majority of your runs, easy days, recovery runs, which constitute most of the runs that you do in a week, should be in soft, flexible shoes like this or this. Tempo and speed work, of course, you can lace up your plated shoes, go out there, have fun. And then, of course, race day. That's when you dig out the best that you have to offer and give it your all. One of the practices that I started doing was anytime I'm at home, I'm barefoot. When I'm working, my foot muscles, they are getting exercised, and then many days I go out on a run in shoes like this or shoes like this and make sure that the intrinsic muscles of my feet also get to be worked out, and then, of course, over time, my tolerance of non-carbon plated shoes is also going higher. So finally, I will say for carbon plated shoes, use wisely, run smarter. They are an incredible tool, but like all tools, they need to be used the right way. The key is to train smart and then use carbon-plated shoes strategically for maximum benefit. So, have you been running on carbon-plated shoes for a long time? What's your experience? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button and notification bell so you don't miss an update. Dr. CY signing off here. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, goodbye.